We're gonna give you 4 key exercises that you can use to improve your front rack, and we're gonna start right now. The first exercise is actually 3 mobility movements, okay? So we're actually gonna be giving you what? 3 plus 3, 6 exercises. So the first thing that I would do if I have somebody who's struggling with that front rack position, we wanna focus on a prayer stretch. So I'm gonna get set here, and I can put my hands like this. I'm gonna come through, and I wanna stretch through here. 1, 2, 3, you can count to about, let's say 12 to 15, come back up. And let's do 2 passes. Okay, and then by that 3rd pass, get nice and deep, nice and deep, nice and deep, and try to really squeeze your spine in that upper back. We're gonna do 2 to 3 passes of that prayer stretch. Try to really feel your lats lengthening. Try to really feel like that upper back. You can almost feel sometimes a little bit of a pop in there, just a little bit of a crack, especially if you're used to sitting at a desk all day. The prayer stretch is absolutely phenomenal, but I like to pair this with 2 other movements. So the next movement, we're gonna use our sweet roller here, and we're gonna get set. Now, this is, for me, probably the absolute hardest one. I'm gonna get set here. Fortunately, I just did that prayer stretch. I wanna grab the roller. Oh my God. And try to roll back, roll back, roll back, roll back, roll back. Come back forward. Freaking A. Come back down. I'm gonna go prayer stretch to the roller, and then I'm gonna go to the next exercise, and you're gonna do that cycling 3 times before you actually get into that warm-up. But this is absolutely fantastic to help you get more mobile. Now, that 3rd exercise is gonna be using our power elastics, and you can get creative with this. And the big aspect here is you try to actually set that front rack, and you'll start to feel that through that elbow and even up through that wrist and into your forearm, okay? So this could be a nice, easy way to improve that front rack position. And then by the 2nd or 3rd pass, you get set here, and you can move through, raising that elbow higher as you have tension set in the band, okay? So if you don't wanna use a barbell, you can still get set here and try to pull this hand down as you're raising that front rack, or as you're raising that elbow, which is gonna mimic that front rack. So let's, in theory, say that we did that for the first pass. Let's go 2 sets of 15 seconds on each side after we do the prayer stretch, after we do the thoracic roller. And then as you get a little bit more mobile in this warm-up series, as you would go through using the strength band, the next step would be you can use a band like the HAF band, which is gonna have a little bit more tension and really help you get that hand down to that shoulder. And that, you're gonna feel that open up through your lat, through your tricep, into your elbow, wrist, and forearm. And if you can pair all 3 of these together and do this for about 12 to 15 minutes, as you're getting set for that big clean and jerk session, this is where you start, those 3 mobility exercises. Now we're getting into specific work to improving that front rack. And this is an extraordinarily challenging exercise. It can almost make you feel like you're about to black out, so just be careful here. Now, we're gonna do a pause front squat. There's a couple big factors around this. I like pause front squats because 1, they make you less of a bitch. 2, they're gonna help improve your mobility throughout your entire back, into your hips and your ankles. 3, they help improve your position out of the bottom, which is going to help strengthen that front rack. So Yvonne's gonna demonstrate for us here. We're gonna get down into the bottom position. We're gonna pause for 3 seconds, and I want him to think about his elbows actually leading the way out of that bottom. So let's go down there nice and controlled. 1, 2, 3, elbows up. There you go. So the big factor as a coach, give me 2 more, is to look at the elbows should be what guide him. There you go, perfectly done. The elbows should guide him up out of that bottom position, not his chest dumping forward. So to strengthen that, we have to have some good mobility. We have to be able to hold that trunk control in the bottom. And if you use that cue as elbows are pushing me up out of the bottom position, that's gonna help strengthen that front rack, which ideally leads to a better clean and a better jerk. That 3rd sweet exercise is another brutal movement. And a lot of things when we're thinking about improving the strength of our front rack, they are going to be horrifically challenging. They're gonna give you that mental challenge of, do I even want to continue weightlifting because they're so freaking hard? This next one is gonna be a slow eccentric onto a box, and we're gonna use the exact same cue that we used when we did the pause. So we're gonna get set here, and we wanna think about knees go forward, butt goes back, nice and controlled. We're gonna sit, go 1, 2, drive up with those elbows up off the box. Give me a little sit here, up. There you go, perfect, okay? Up. One more. Up. Good. Now, I would do this like 5 triples, 6 doubles, something like that. Another cool thing that you can do is you can change the height of the box dependent upon the athlete and where you tend to see their elbows collapse. So some athletes, as they're getting through the mid-range, their elbows collapse and they miss that clean forward, or maybe they even dip forward at the bottom of the jerk. So you want to raise that box a little bit more. Other athletes, when they catch that heavy clean, cue DJ Shuttleworth cleaning 200 kilos or 205 kilos and just getting a little bit of that pancake down at the bottom, they're gonna benefit from doing that box front squat at a little bit deeper position. But the cue comes back to that same thing. I like to think about elbows up through the heels. So you stay flat-footed, you're as upright as possible, and the elbows are gonna cue that concentric movement that's gonna be much more vertical because you're increasing the strength in that front rack position. So this last movement is another brutal, challenging movement. And this is an exercise that we learned and used for quite a long time, but we use this mainly for sports performance. And then I had a long conversation with Olympic champion Piros Dimas, and he also reiterated that this exercise is fantastic for improving the dip and drive in the jerk and for receiving a heavy clean. Now, we use a couple different other exercises in one of our old school videos that's on our main channel around improving the mobility in the front rack. So if you guys need a little bit extra help, check out that video. Now, this exercise is going to be the zombie squat. So Yvonne's gonna get set. We want those hands nice and horizontal, and the big factor here is we want the bar in the exact same spot it would be in that front squat, okay? So Yvonne's gonna take this out of the rack, walk backwards. We're gonna get set in that front squat stance, and we're just gonna do a set of 4. Up, good. Up, up, one more. Good. Now, the reason why this is so good is because you have to stay more upright. When we were designing the weightlifting version of Peak Strength, some of the big factors that we were looking at was how can we improve if we're bringing somebody in and they're a squat jerker or they're a split jerker and their front squat's not that good, what are exercises that we could potentially use to blow up that front squat? And then in turn, transfer really well over to the power jerk or over to the split jerk. And that's where we're using zombie squat as a front squat replacement, because this is one of the best exercises for actually enhancing that front rack position. The reason being is that if you tend to roll forward at all, if you tend to drop those elbows in the front squat, the zombie squat's gonna expose that and you're gonna miss that lift by just having the bar roll off your shoulders. This is really, really good at forcing you to be as vertical as possible. So you can use the zombie squat, you can use that pause front squat, you can use that front box squat, okay, right after you would do all of those mobility exercises, but do those on different days. These are movements that are gonna enhance that front rack position so that you guys can hit some monster PRs out on the platform. Because remember, freaks, if you wanna become a champion, you've always gotta cultivate your power. Peace.